So obviously you have this fire in California, I'm sorry, in LA and California, obviously LA's in California, and it's tearing that place apart. Okay. I have a lot of friends in Los Angeles. I have a lot of friends in California, and they are all affected. I mean, like people, I interviewed Cenk Uygur today. His kids' school was burned down. Well, I actually had the opportunity to speak to Cenk about what he believes is causing the forest fires. I've always been on the side that the forest fires are being caused by arson in many cases. But Cenk talked about the government. It's unbelievable how much Cenk and I agreed on things when we talked. And I'm going to put that out, periodically. I'm going to put the part of him talking about the fires in this video because, again, my policy is I don't care who a person is, dude. If we agree on a topic, I am going to try to platform them, and I'm going to, I like assimilation. Cenk is like, it's Gavin Newsom is corrupt. That's why this happened. And I'm like, we are aligned. That's exactly why this happened. And let's talk about it. So I want you guys to see that in this video. The other thing is Trump. I'm going to show you guys the 7-minute clip of Trump laying out exactly why this is happening, because California owes this to policy decisions made by Gavin Newsom. It is simple as that. But I also want to show you guys some stuff on X, all right? Hey, real quick, I'm throwing this in after because this video went way long, so I'm not going to have time to show the Cenk stuff. I'm going to put that in a very separate video. In a separate video, just FYI, so buckle in. Like, look at this. Look at this, okay? We're going to get to that in a second. By the way, if you have not subscribed to the channel, feel free to do that. Actually, just do it, dude. I would appreciate it very much. I work really hard, and it's very helpful to the channel. And also, if you want to know every time that I upload, ring that bell, and you will be alerted, okay? So especially with this kind of content, it's the only way that you're going to know. So State Farm canceled 1,600 policies in Pacific Palisades last year because California wouldn't allow them to raise premiums to cover their exposure. Well, I bet those people are feeling that now, dude. Hopefully they got, new policies, So I'm pretty sure Trump is going to cover that stuff in the part that I'm going to show you. But look at this. So Trump blew up Gavin Newsom. In case you guys haven't seen it, I'm going to show it to you in a second. But let's listen to Gavin Newsom try to respond.
One can't even respond to it phase. We're in the public safety phase.
I hate to even ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, it's people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Well, so let's look at what he actually said, and then we'll look at what Cenk said and what Trump said too. Well, actually, we're going to see what he said here, and then we're going to go to him with Joe Rogan. Then we're going to look at some of the Cenk stuff. Looks like Donald Trump's second term in the White House is sadly, truly going to be a lot like his first. Give me a break. Oh, deadline. So deadline, these guys. As great swaths of Los Angeles are destroyed from multiple wildfires, harsh winds, yada, yada, yada. He blamed Gavin Newsom. Well, whose fault is it then? Right? They ran out of water. Like, they ran out of water. Whose fault is it? I'm not pretending to know everything, but it's someone's fault because they ran out of water. Okay? So Trump said Governor Gavin Newsom refused to sign the water restoration declaration put before him that would have allowed millions of gallons of water from excess rain and snow melt from the north to flow daily into many parts of California, including the areas that are currently burning in a virtually apocalyptic way. He wanted to protect an essentially worthless fish called a smelt by giving it less water. It didn't work. But didn't care about the people of California. Now the ultimate price is being paid. I will demand that this incompetent governor allow beautiful, clean, fresh water to flow into California. He is to blame for this. On top of it all, no water for fire hydrants, no firefighting planes, a true disaster. Now, listen, if I thought that he was doing this purely to kick Gavin Newsom politically while he's down, I wouldn't like that. But if he really believes, which he clearly does, as you're going to see in a second, he believes that this is the right outcome. Because he was talking about it 7 months ago on Rogan's show, or 7 months ago, whatever, however many months ago when he went on Rogan. So he's like, here you go. Okay. Here you go. This is him talking about this months ago where he said this was going to happen. He's talking about exactly why this happened. And I'm going to show you that right now. So let's watch that, and then you make up your own mind. Is he being political, or is he actually trying to do something good here? So let's check this out. Here's Trump saying exactly what needed to happen. He spent 7 minutes, okay, about the California wildfire situation when he was on Rogan. He's talking about exactly what California was doing wrong and why what they're doing is going to lead to serious forest fires, and why we're looking at the thing that we're looking at now. So let's start running through this, and everybody who lost a home or anybody who knows somebody who lost a home can all collectively get angry about this too. And if we have time, or maybe you've already seen this, depending on how I structure this video, I'm going to show you some disgusting people on Twitter, or X, I'm sorry, who were gloating when Trump supporters had lost their homes. Now, if you also think it's disgusting to gloat when people lose their homes, regardless of what their political affiliations are, this is the right channel for you. So you should subscribe to the channel to let everybody know that that's how you feel, and then like the video. So let's get into this. Watch this.
But let me give you one that you may not know.
Okay.
Which I think you know everything, actually, as a student of yours. but water. You know, in Los Angeles, you can't get proper amounts of water.
Right.
And it's unbelievably expensive. And you might have a house in Beverly Hills, and they're actually thinking about rationing water. Can you believe it?
I can believe
and
it.
I was in the farm court country with some of the congressmen. We're driving up a highway, and I say, how come all this land is so barren? It's farmland, and it looked terrible. It was just brown and bad. I said, but there's always that little corner that's so green and beautiful. They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. You got to see this. We're driving up, and I had never seen it before. It's like Iowa. It's the most fertile land. Iowa's blessed with great land. Idaho for a potato, right?
Yeah.
But they're just, by the way, you know, some land is good for a potato, some land is good for corn. It's the craziest thing. I love the farmers. They're great. They're the greatest. And by the way, they're getting killed right now.
They are.
They're getting killed because of this stupid administration. But
I don't know why. I can listen to this guy talk forever. I mean, like, normally I don't, normally I kind of chime in, but I get like hypnotized listening to him talk, because I don't know. I can't really explain it. I just love listening to this fucking guy talk.
So I see this, and I said, you got to be kidding. I said, you mean you have water? And I looked at it. It's like a valve in your sink, except it's massive. The thing's 5 times taller than your ceiling.
Did you know the center of California was a giant lake?
They have so much water.
You ever see what it looks like before they rerouted it?
I never saw that,
The
no.
center of California, like, what is it, 200 years ago? How long ago did they do that, Jamie? The center of California had a fucking enormous lake in the middle of
So
California.
they dumped it into the Pacific.
Who knows what they did? But whatever foolishness that they did led to the situation that they're in now.
Think of those dry forests that burned down all over the world. You know, the head of Austria said,
Here it is, Tulare Lake, or Tachi Lake. It's a freshwater lake in the southern San Joaquin Valley, United States. Historically, Tulare Lake was one of the largest freshwater lakes west of Mississippi. Show a photo of what it looked like back then.
It's a great system.
So that's what it looked like. Look at that image. Now, go to the one on the third from the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was an enormous
What a
lake
beautiful
in the
thing.
middle of California. Imagine that.
Have you? I'd never seen that before. Look at that. What the? Is that real? I mean, that's insane if that's true. I mean, like, that basically erases like a third of the state. I've never seen that before. If that's true, that's absolutely wild.
That'd be much more valuable
How
property.
crazy is that?
Oh,
But how
wow.
crazy is
So
that's
what
what it
did
used
they
to look
do?
like? And human beings screwed that
No,
up.
they let it go into the Pacific, and then they
I don't
did
know what they
something.
did. What did they do? How did it go
Wow.
missing?
They said they drained it in 83.
Yeah, they drained it.
1983. Oh, my God.
It went dry a handful of times.
Oh, it went dry a handful of times. Well, you know, lakes do go dry, but that's a big one.
But think of
It's a
it,
big one to go
you
dry.
could have all of the water you need, all of that land would have more water. The whole thing could be like that little patch.
Yeah.
Literally, I'd say I was with Gavin Newsom as a congressman and other congressmen. We were going up. I was visiting that because they asked me to go up and visit their territory, and I did. But I kept saying, look at this land. It's beautiful, but it's so dry. And I thought they were going through like a desert, like a drought. They said, no, we have water, but it gets... So I looked into it.
What is the fish?
And I got it done. I could have water for all of that land, water for your forests. You know, your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You know, you could have everything. Oh, not only dangerous, billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires. And, you know, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. When a tree falls down, after 18 months, it becomes very dry. It's like, you know, like real firewood. It's bad. You know, a tree that's up, these are all things I learned the hard way, the easy way. But when a tree is up, it sucks water. It's wet. I went to they had a couple of horrible forest fires in California, and I said,
I want to say something about that real quick. So the Paradise Fire, I went to school at Chico State, Northern California. Now I'm from California, obviously. But the Paradise Fire was very close to where I went to school. And I have friends who are from Paradise, whose families lived in Paradise. I went to go see movies in Paradise. It's that close to Chico. I used to play golf in Paradise. That place doesn't exist anymore. Okay. We're not talking about like fires that kind of displace some people or what. We're talking about an entire town that is non-existent anymore. All the infrastructure, all of the human beings that lived there for hundreds, you know, however long, they never rebuilt it. That's how devastating that fire was. It's gone. Paradise does not exist anymore.
You know, you had a lot of trees standing. Yes, they were healthy trees, sir. I said, with this intense heat, that you could see they were charred a little bit on the bottom, but they were going to be all right because they're soaking wet because they suck up the water, right? But when they fall,
right,
they're like, you know, it's like lighting a match.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to they maintain your forest. So I was with the head of Austria. He said, you know, it's a shame. I see all those forest fires in California, and all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the deadfall.
And get rid of the trees that are fallen that are like so many things this country. By the way,
could you really
rake
the whole
done.
Forest, though? I don't think you could rake the whole forest.
Well, you could,
I think you can get rid of the deadfall, but raking all the leaves.
You could certainly get rid of the dead, okay?
Yeah, I think that's the real issue.
You know, environmentally.
Yeah, but you can, okay, that's true. But if you know where the infrastructure is that's potentially going to cause fires, you can rake those areas. You know what I mean? Like, because the reality is that it's the power lines. It's where PG&E is, right? PG&E is not blanketing the entire forest, right? So if you focus on the areas where you have electricity running through, you know, devices that are all over the place, you're going to reduce a lot of forest fire risk. And candidly, I have always believed that the majority of these California forest fires are arson. Straight up. I can't tell you any kind of like straight up data driven stuff here that would drive that opinion, but that has always been my opinion is that it's arson. Now the biggest one, and I always come back to this, if you guys know my content really well, you'll have heard me say this before, but in 2019 there was a moment where there were fires raging from the top of California to the bottom of California. I'm talking everywhere. Okay? Everywhere. And it's not like fire, like the fire, likelihood of fire was like out of this world. Okay. But you're talking about fires from the top, like Redding all the way down to like just above San Diego. It's impossible. Do you know how big how big California is? How could you possibly have forest fires in basically every single area in the entire state? Except there's one thing. You want to know what they all had in common? They were all near the freeway. Okay? All of those fires were kind of near roads, right? There's a lot of California that's not near roads. All the fires were near roads, right? And you think about it, if you have conditions that are conducive to fires getting started, spreading, and you're on like a motorcycle or something, and you can, you start all you have to do is just start a fire and then just you're gone, dude. You know what I mean? Like you're gone. You're gone before anyone even knows there's a fire going on. You'll be 20 minutes away before the first person realizes there's even like a little bit of a fire. And by the time they're getting people to that one and you're an hour away, that's a long way. Start another one, right? Maybe one of them doesn't pick up, then you're 2 hours down, start another one. And by the end of the day, you have the entire state on fire and you could just sit in front of a television and marvel at your own work, you know?
They don't want to do that. They said, it's got to be nature and all this stuff. But in the meantime, this is exactly right. But you could have, so it was the Department of Commerce that needed the approvals, but Gavin Newsom had to sign them. I got it all done. Nobody could believe it. It was all done. I said, I got it. You got so much water. All you have to do is sign. And that guy didn't want to sign.
Did he not want to sign because that would be a political victory for you?
I think, no, he didn't. No, I don't think so. He used to say, he's a great president, and we got along. We did. We actually got along at that point. But I think somebody said you just can't continue to call him a great president. They do say that. But we had it all done. He didn't sign, and then we got on to other things. And I every time I go to California, I said, you have so much water. They don't know it. I'm telling you, people living in Beverly Hills, they turn off the water. Same thing with the electric. They want to go to all electric cars, but they have brownouts every weekend,
Well, right after they made the announcement that as of 2035, you're not going to be able to buy an internal combustion engine in California, like within a month, they had some announcement asking people to not charge their Teslas. Because the grid couldn't handle it. Well, how are you going to handle it?
I will terminate the mandate immediately. That's a mandate.
Thank you.
That will be done, I would say, in my first day, maybe 2 days, because
I mean, you don't even need to do that. It's just not going to work, Like, it's like one of those things. It's just not going to work, man. And we will no longer allow internal combustion engines by 2035. Oh, really? You won't? No, we won't. Oh, so what are you going to do exactly? Is you to tell people that they can't drive a car? Well, no, they're going to have to buy electric. They're going to have to buy electric. Yes. All right. So, I mean, what about people that can't afford an electric car? Well, they'll be able to. They will. Why? Because they'll have to. So they won't be able to afford one. What about people when they go car shopping and they have like $3,000? And if you make everybody buy electric, that means the electric cars are going to be that much more expensive. I mean, it's like they don't even understand how supply and demand works. You have a billion fucking cars that are internal combustion. You have you have a fair number of electric cars, a lot of hybrids, straight pure electric. Well, that's not till 2035. All right. Do you know how many people drive cars that are not, that are older than 15 years? Like, I know, like in your ivory tower of everyone has money, like the idea that someone couldn't afford a used car that's, that's 12 years old is unfathomable to you. But the world is not like you just, those people are invisible to you. You can't even possibly relate to their life. And so you can write some stupid law like that. It's never going to happen. But you can pretend like it's going to happen and you don't really care because you don't. I can't, dude. Hey, real quick, I'm throwing this in after because this video went way long, so I'm not gonna have time to show the jank stuff. I'm gonna put that in a very separate video. In a separate video, just FYI. So buckle in.